Yeah, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to today's trade recap session. Today we will be discussing the one trade which I took today, which I did get stopped out for 55 ticks. So a very minor loss, not too bad because our idea was correct. But let's get straight into it. Today is April the 6th. All right, so let's go over the overall context of the day and then we'll get into it. So at 9 a.m., we did have news, and it was expected that Trump would speak to the Canadian Prime Minister somewhere around 10:30 to 11-ish, but it was a bit tentative. So here were our key levels that we had marked out. We had this high, this high, this high, and this low as well. What we noticed is that this the highest high which we had marked out, other than this one here, was an area of high volume. You could consider that our point of control. And what we also noticed was that before market opened, we swept this lower liquidity and saw a pretty good reaction off of it. So now with all this fuel, I'm honestly expecting price to head towards the upper point of control level before seeing further movement. And same goes for ES. But looking at it, right once we opened, we started seeing a push higher, but then our sells came in, swept this liquidity, flipped towards the upside. Now momentum is very, very, very bullish. Now what I would have liked to see is to see any retracement around this level, as we did have a fair value gap at that level and it was our V2 levels. But unfortunately, price made a retracement around this area, and we comprehended that as a retracement, but unfortunately price just wanted to chop around this area to a good extent. And partially one of the reasons for that chop was because we were getting very close to that Trump meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister, which did result in moves in the market such as this one and also this one as well, I believe. Nah, this one's just a gap fill. But these are all essentially just news related pumps, right? Now, it's likely that this trade didn't play out how I wanted it to because of the news. But also, if you take a look, we took a 55 tick stop loss, right? And we could have taken a bigger stop loss. And our stop loss was wider, but we took 55 ticks because we saw the trade get invalidated and it was honestly taking way too long. And patience is good within the market, but you want your trades to maintain a lower or a higher Sharpe ratio, which means that your trades look more like that if you hit your trade, or lose like that if you lose your trades, rather than something like that. You know what I mean? You want it to be a straight pathway towards the top, or straight pathway to your stop loss. And here we just saw this choppy action for around 30 minutes of in-trade time. So it's already a pretty long trade. Typically our trade TP will hit within 10 to 20 minutes. 30 minutes around break even is insane. So originally our stop loss was right around there, around 150 ticks, because we identified a barrier at the time. Shout out to Alex with Think with Bookmap once again. Great tool, I highly recommend you guys to check out. So now at 10:30, which was 9:30 our time, what we saw happening was that we started condensing within barriers. Now, there's not really any key targets other than this 5600 level on ES. So let's go ahead and open ES as well and see how you do there. But as we keep going on, we don't really have a major target here on either NQ or ES. If you take a look, this upper barrier got swept with high buyer volume, and these barriers are moving up. That's around the time where I took a long because I started seeing these barriers get broken. So I was thinking we can continue heading towards the upside. And if we look at it, we're just chopping between the upper barrier, lower barrier, upper barrier, lower barrier, upper barrier, lower barrier, until finally we find a breakout, or almost a breakout, at the lower barrier before we move towards the upside. Now if you look 5600, right, where is that? Okay, now that's pretty key thing to look out to. Although there's liquidity on the charts, bookmap liquidity, where is bookmap liquidity indicating the price may target? We're either heading to 5687, which can be likely, but not really. It only has 69 orders there. But here at 5600, we have 216 buy orders sitting there. This is going to be our magnet and target. Although longs may come in, realistically, we should not have taken a long because there's honestly no sustainable target towards the upside. Although our take profit would have hit really nicely if we held this trade for another 1.5 hours, this move right here happened because of what Trump said, not because of what the market had in place. So we do need to keep that in mind. These circles at the bottom were just times when we touched the barrier. But yeah, that's honestly pretty much it. We can look over this trade on Footprint as well. So let's go ahead and see these barrier taps on Footprint. So 935. This is the Footprint. Let's go straight to 935 around this area. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it honestly does look like buyers can come through. Why? Because we're seeing heavy selling delta near the bottom and heavy volume near the bottom as well of these candles, which both of them wicked, showing that we might be seeing absorption of sellers. Take a long, we head up there. What do we see there? Now we're seeing absorption of buyers. And then it's an ending cycle, but an area where potentially could have seen... Now, honestly, this entire area was very, very choppy, and honestly, you can't really predict anything on Footprint as well. It's just choppy. We are seeing absorption where we were looking for, but unfortunately, that absorption was simply not held through, and the momentum didn't want price to continue to go higher at this specific moment. Likely because we're waiting for a news event or catalyst to take liquidity first and fuel whatever move we are wanting to have. But that's pretty much it for today. We discussed the context for the day. We discussed how we took a small loss here today on NQ, which we managed effectively to take only a 55 tick stop instead of a 150 tick stop, because when we started to see the lightening of this lower barrier right here, you see how the bottom barrier that we were mainly focusing on is almost empty now, with the strong hold of these above barriers. That's showing me that price is taking more significance to these upper barriers, which allows price to continue to go down. And if you look at the charts, price did go down further. Go here, it came down to our stop, and then right from our stop it went straight to TP. But pretty good risk management on this trade. Only reason we should have stayed flat or exited earlier is because price was not... Sorry about that, but price was essentially just chopping, as I mentioned quite a few times in this video already. But that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please feel free to join the Discord. The link will be in the description, or leave a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions there as well. I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next market analysis session. I won't be trading tomorrow because there is FOMC, and I guess I'll see you guys then. Have a great day. Bye.